So, to anybody that doesn't know you, Lance, tell them who you are and kind of like how you got into this resort that you're in right now.
Yeah, so from Utah originally, grew up there, and my wife and I have always been entrepreneurs our whole careers. We've done different things. Most applicably to this, we did some real estate development and some fix and flips, and we were super hosts on Airbnb for like 8 years. And I was not liking what I was doing. I'm feeling super burned out for a number of different reasons. And so we decided to just kind of consolidate everything. We sold our homes that we were renting on Airbnb and planned to build a health and wellness retreat in or around Salt Lake City. And
Mhm.
then we looked as far as Montana, Idaho, somewhere in the Intermountain West. And as we started just exploring this, I told some of my old friends and partners about what we were planning to do, and they introduced us to Darren and Nicole Hill. And Darren's the founder of Rev Road and Imagine Learning and several other companies. And we hit it off with him, and he had this vision to purchase the property here in Belize that we ended up purchasing. And our visions overlapped enough for what we wanted to do that we came down here. We were down here 2 weeks after meeting him and decided to move forward with a partnership together. And it took us about another 8 months to get down here.
Yeah,
But it all worked out. We bought the property and we've owned it for almost 2 years now.
cool.
And we've been renovating and upscaling the experience. And the focus is on delivering what we call elemental experiences, which are experiences that pull people out of their day to day and give them the space that they need, physical, mental, and emotional space from their day to day life to almost view their life from a third party perspective and either just rejuvenate and feel renewed to be able to go back at life with the passion and vigor that they need, or to be able to reroute and find what is their real passion, what should they be, or not should, but what do they want to be contributing to the world rather
Yeah,
than what they feel like they should contribute to the world. So that's kind of become my passion. I feel like I was super burned out, but I was passionate about health and wellness, and I wanted to make that
yeah,
a big priority in my life and help
yeah,
others to do the same and love adventure and love travel. And
yeah,
so I'm trying to, like, I was just texting today with a billionaire that I think
yeah.
probably a lot of people in the Utah community would know. And I invited him to come stay at our resort and consider investing. He is he's too busy to invest in his own, um, invest in time for himself, I guess
Yeah,
it would be a way to say it.
yeah,
And so my personal mission is to get those people to come here. Not necessarily a billionaire or financially
yeah,
wealthy or
yeah,
anything, just the people who are super burned out in their careers and their
yeah,
life, and they need that space, and it can just be a trigger to help them reset and discover
yeah,
what direction they need to go to move to the next step.
yeah.
That
That's
was probably
rad.
longer than you wanted, but that's
No, no,
that's what it is, and that's the why of it all.
so what do so you guys have been down there. So that was, yeah, so you bought the resort was there already. You guys with a partner purchased it together, and then it sounded like you had to do some renovations. How did you land on down there, and what made you want to be in Belize?
Yeah, so it was really our partners. They started traveling down here and just loved Belize for all the many reasons that there are to love Belize. English
Yeah,
speaking, they pegged their dollar 2 to 1, so it's easy. You don't have to exchange
yeah.
currency. Um, there's so much biodiversity here. Got the second largest barrier reef in the world.
Oh wow.
There's so much to love about Belize. And I mean, right now it's in the same time zone as Utah. So for them, traveling back and forth, it's either the same time zone or 1 hour difference.
Uh,
And
yeah,
it's an easy 1 day flight instead of trying to fly to Thailand or Bali or some of these other
yeah.
exotic
Other,
destinations that take all day, 2 different days.
yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah, there are a lot of reasons. And now it's the number one fastest growing tourist destination in the Caribbean for over the
Oh,
last
is it
12 months.
really? Wow.
So I think it's up and coming, like a great place for us to be investing. Whereas Costa Rica is already really built out. It feels like investing in Costa Rica maybe 10 or 20 years ago.
Oh, that's rad. And then the name of your property is Jade. Yeah, what's the Jade Jungle Resort? Is that what you're,
Yeah,
is that
Jade Jungle Resort. And
cool?
the thing a lot of people don't know is that our parent company is called Mineral, so
Okay.
Mineral Resorts, and
Okay.
that the tagline for Mineral Resorts is elemental experiences,
Oh,
and the
cool.
idea is to name each resort after an a mineral or an element. And so jade is a mineral that was
Uh,
also sacred
got
to
it.
the Maya people that lived here for 300 years. And in this valley, there are 500 different Maya home sites. And like the number one sacred cave in the world, as rated by National Geographic, is 15 minutes from our property. We're by far the
No way.
closest resort to it.
That's awesome.
So that was a ritual cave where they performed sacrifices and to the gods, including human sacrifices for 500 years. And you can
Yeah.
go in the cave and do like an Indiana Jones-esque
That's
experience.
rad.
It's wild. It's wild.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
It's
so yeah, that's where the name Jade came from.
okay. And where is it at in Belize? Where are you guys at
It's
there?
it's pretty central.
Okay.
In I think it was in the 60s, there was a hurricane that destroyed Belize City, and that was the previous capital, and they moved the capital inward to Belmopan, and it's very
Oh, okay.
central to the country, and that's the closest city to where we are. So we're about 35 minutes from Belmopan, back in the jungle, and
Okay.
about 6 miles off a paved road.
Oh, rad. So it's not too bad to get to then?
No, we're 90 minutes from the airport, and like for the remoteness that you feel when you get here,
Yeah.
it's definitely not bad. Like any
Yeah.
other resort in Belize that feels as remote as we are and has as high quality of jungle as we have is at
Yeah.
like double that to get there or more.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And then and you kind of already talked about it, but the target market for your resort, how would you describe your target market when you're kind of looking at who you're trying to cater to?
Yeah, so the target market that we kind of inherited from the previous owners, I would put them squarely in the nature enthusiast category. So
Cool.
these are people that want to come and see wildlife. It's a top birding destination in the world, Belize is, and then
Oh, wow.
our property specifically is a very good birding destination. So people will come here to check. It's like Pokemon Go for the 40 plus
Yeah.
crowd, you know? So people literally have like thousands of birds that they've checked off their list around the world. And so it's cool.
That's
They'll
rad.
come here and they'll get excited about the birds. And then we've been expanding that target market.
Yeah.
Obviously, that also includes just individuals and families that love nature. They want to come see wildlife. They want to be in a natural setting. But we're expanding it to include a major rising tide in the travel industry, which is wellness tourism.
Yeah.
And we're doing both secondary and primary wellness tourism. So primary wellness tourism would be like, I'm coming for a yoga retreat or a fitness
Okay.
retreat or for a specific training. And then secondary wellness travelers are just people who want to eat healthy and clean while they're here. They want to have active lifestyle things to do. They want to have access to spa services like a massage or things
Cool.
like that. And so we cater to that group. And then there's another group that we cater to, which is another great market, and that's the adventure people.
Yeah.
Go, hey,
Cool.
I want to
Go
go
hiking,
jump
do
off a
river.
waterfall, go
Yeah,
hiking,
yeah.
go kayaking, go into ATM cave,
Is there any
that kind
surf
of
over
stuff.
there,
So
Lance?
no surf. No, the scuba people, the snorkel people love it because there's, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Because
It's
it's
a major scuba destination because of that.
because you're on the Caribbean side, right? Not the
Right.
yeah, that makes sense. How far away is the ocean from you?
Good ocean. I mean, I'd say 2 hours.
Okay.
Like when we go to the beach, we go down to Hopkins, and that's
Yeah.
2 hours away just for a day
Okay.
to go hang out.
Yeah, yeah.
Most of the people that stay with us will book some time on the beach. So they'll stay with us for like, 3 to 5 nights, and then they'll stay
Yeah.
at the beach for 3 to 5 nights.
Yeah, I got it. So they'll split it up. So
Yeah.
yeah, your activities there would be like the hiking, the river stuff, anything
hmm
around there. Whereas if you wanted to snorkel,
Caving,
yeah,
rivers. Yeah. If you want to snorkel, so we do have day trips. So people that are like, the jungle is for me, I'm going to go just come there and stay for a week.
yeah, but I still want to
They
go
can
and
do a
hang out
day
in the ocean
trip
for a day.
and yeah, go out and go fishing or do scuba diving or snorkeling. And so we offer that so that, people that don't want to stay two places can stay with us.
Yeah.
But most people just choose to split their vacation, and that's fine with us. We'll build a
Yeah.
beach
Yeah.
resort next, and we'll
Yeah.
do
Totally.
some split itineraries.
Do you have like recommended properties down there that you guys kind of throw people back and forth from, or do you guys do that at all?
Yeah, for beach resorts,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are like 5 major beach destinations in Belize. And so we have like 1 or 2 places that we'll typically recommend for each of those.
Cool. No, that's awesome. So yeah, I know. So you've been down there. I was looking at the website. First of all, the website looks great, man.
Oh,
Like
thank you.
the video, the photos, I mean, it all looks really nice. So when you first took over the resort, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when you just kind of took it over, like just in general?
Man, I would say one of the biggest things, which is kind of unrelated to it being a resort, is just learning to do business in a foreign country.
Oh yeah,
So
I
it's
could see
like,
that.
we got in the US, you walk in and you open up a bank account and then you walk out. And here
Yeah.
you walk in and you ask them, what are the 20 things I need to give you to open up a bank account? And they give you most of them. And then, you submit it and then you follow up and then you follow up and then you hire a lawyer to help you actually get a bank account. And so
Wow.
it's like,
Yeah.
I think it took us 3 months to open a bank account.
Oh, no
And
way. That's
we told our
crazy.
neighbors that own a tree farm. They have a 1,000-acre tree farm, largest soursop farm in the world, and they grow teak, mahogany, cedar, cacao, coconut. It's a really cool place. We take our guests there to go on tours,
Yeah.
and they were like, "What? You got your bank account in 3 months? You're like a wizard. It took us 9 months."
No way.
Yeah. So just things
Oh,
like
that's
that, where
wild.
you're like, I, why would I expect that it would take 3 months to open a
Yeah.
bank account?
Like one of those things that you're just like, dude, I did not anticipate waiting 3 months to be able to open an
Yeah.
account. Yeah.
So there's a whole slew of those things that are
Of
just
those
like learning
things.
to do business in a foreign country. And
Yeah.
then I think that there are some differences to culture. Those
Yeah.
were, bigger in some ways than we thought they would be, and smaller in other ways. So, and what else? The logistics of, renovating and building in the jungle are
Yeah.
different than
Yeah.
and really doing anything in the jungle, like an upscale restaurant where we serve 4-course meals every night in the middle of the jungle.
Oh yeah.
That's different than doing it in the middle of the city where you just order
You
things
have all the
from
resources there that you
Cisco or
need.
whatever, and they
Yeah.
drop off all of your supplies.
Lance, how many, what's the accommodation level of your resort? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so we have 10 rooms. They're all thatch roof cabanas, so very
Oh, okay.
traditional
Right.
to like what the Maya people would have had. They're separate and they accommodate from 2 to 6 people depending on the cabana.
Oh, okay.
And so, total, if all of our beds were full, we'd have 28 people that could sleep in beds
Okay. Cool.
without adding additional beds. We've hosted up to
Yeah.
38. That was really tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a high school group that didn't mind sleeping in really close
Bunking up
quarters.
with each other. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I mean, as far as the accommodation level, we have labeled ourselves eco luxury.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of a balance between really embracing the sustainability of the place that we're in. We're completely off grid. So it's like power from the sun, water from the stream. Literally just down the hill, we pump our water up. It comes from a spring that originates in the reserve that we're next to.
That's
And
so
then
crazy.
food from the garden
Right.
as much as we can. We grow a lot of
Yeah.
food. And then other little things like just not doing any single use plastics, heating our water with cahoon nuts, which are like, they're kind of like mini coconuts that are
Okay.
about this big, and they grow on
Oh,
the
okay.
cahoon palm, which is native to this area and isn't really found anywhere else in the world. And they're an extremely clean biofuel. And so we can
Oh,
gather
interesting.
those or buy them from the villagers that are close by, and we burn those to heat our water. So that's how we heat our water to save
Oh,
electricity.
wow. That's cool.
So we're very much into that side of it, which provides for a more natural experience for people, some unique experiences. But then we also want people to get the luxury side of it, right? So we have
Yeah.
really nice beds and sheets, and we serve incredible food for breakfast and lunch buffets, and then a 4-course dinner to lamplight every night. And we provide a really high level of service.
That's awesome.
Our team is incredible. And so I think we just got our first 4-star review in 2 years. We were
Oh,
all
no
five
way.
stars, and then we just got our first 4-star review.
No way.
So like the feedback we're getting on experience is really good. And most of the
Yeah, yeah.
reviews are like, several paragraphs of like, this is so incredible. It changed my life.
What's the average stay with you, Lance? Do they stick around for like, is it like 5 days? Is it 3 days? Is it a week? Is it like
Yeah,
what is?
it's just under, I want to say it's 3.7 days right now. So
Oh,
just
okay,
under 4 days is
cool.
average, but some people will stay a week, some people will stay only
Two
one
nights.
night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most people are like, we had a 3 night minimum and we relaxed that a little bit because we found that there were some people in transition that we wanted to be able to provide the experience
The
to.
yeah, yeah,
But the best experience I would say is probably 5 nights. So people that
yeah.
come for 5 nights and then go do like
So
two
that's
or
what you
three nights on the
recommend
beach.
to guests is
Yeah.
like, hey, if you really want to do this right, then it's let's do it 5 nights kind of thing.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it 5 nights. And that gives you 4 full days. And then you do 1 or 2 days
Yeah,
where you don't leave the property at all. And then you
yeah,
do like 2 or at most 3 days where you go on different excursions and do different
yeah,
adventures.
yeah. That's cool. So, how have you been marketing your resort since you took it over? Like, what was the state of the resort in when you took it over? Was it did they have lots of bookings? Was it, or
Mm.
did you have to come in and really do a lot of heavy lifting to kind of
Hmm.
get it up and going? What was that like
Yeah.
for you?
More the latter. They
Yeah,
had some good relationships with traditional travel agencies, which
yeah,
before getting into this, I thought that industry was kind of dead,
yeah.
but it's very much alive and well, especially in niche type experiences like this, where
Oh,
people
interesting.
want to know more. They want someone they know they can trust to recommend
Hmm.
a place
Yeah,
or build an itinerary that includes multiple different like lodges or whatever else. So
yeah.
we inherited a couple of great relationships with travel agencies, and there were some good bookings from them on the books when we took over, which was challenging because we had to come in. The state of the resort wasn't great; it was under maintained, is what I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Wasn't up to the standard that you wanted to provide your guests.
Yeah, and then beyond being under maintained, we also wanted to elevate the experience from what it was previously. So we put in all new
Mhm.
furniture, we renovated all but one of the cabanas, and then we put in a lot of other really cool
So it was a
features,
pretty
like some
substantial
swing
investment.
bridges. And
Yeah, so it was
yeah,
a
we've
pretty
invested
substantial
significant
investment.
amount. And we're not
Yeah.
done. We're raising money right now, and as the money's coming in, we're like, the next up is a pool. We're going to build a natural
Oh,
pool,
cool.
and
Yeah,
we're
that would be
gonna
rad.
test out some pretty unique air conditioning where we have some canopies around the beds that insulate just the bed and make it really
Wow.
efficient to offer some air conditioning with solar. And so we're excited
Is
to
the
try that out.
weather
We just tested
the
it.
weather is the weather pretty consistently the same year round down there, or does it fluctuate much?
It does fluctuate, yeah. So we have rainy season and dry season. We're in dry season right now, but it's been like a really nice dry season. Last dry season
Yeah.
was super dry, like didn't rain at
Yeah.
all for several months. And we've gotten like a couple rains in March and one in April. So it just hasn't been quite as dry.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then it gets hot and dry in the late spring, early summer. So like
Oh,
between
okay.
now and
So
the end
now
of
is the hot
June.
time.
Yeah, so like May and June get pretty hot and dusty.
What's
And
your
then the
what's your
rains come
favorite
and start
time
to
of
cool it
year?
down.
What's your favorite time of year down there?
Like strictly on weather,
Yeah, yeah.
it
Just
would probably be February.
oh,
February is the
okay.
best for weather. It's also the highest demand, the most people, the craziest at the airport, the most
Because
expensive.
everyone wants to get out of the cold and they're coming down there to.
Everyone's like, "Oh, Christmas is over. Let's go. It's
That
snowing.
makes
Let's get out of
sense.
here." And then the weather here is
Interesting.
just unbeatable.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, the
that's
weather is
awesome.
so good, so nice. But I also love the rainy season.
Oh,
So
you
like
do?
from like July to November. Like when we first came down, it was the end of July, and
Okay.
it rained every day that we were here, and we loved it. It doesn't rain all day, but you get to
Yeah, yeah.
experience, like, sit under the thatch in a hammock and listen to the rain.
Yeah, yeah.
And everywhere we went, like all the different excursions, there was nobody. It was like we had the country to ourselves almost. So coming in the time where everybody's like, "Oh, it's rainy. Why would I want to go there?" I love it. So I
No, that's
actually
cool.
wrote a blog post on when should I visit Belize, and to me, there's a reason to be here every single month.
Yeah. There's
So
different
like even
appeal.
May next month, where I'm saying it's really hot and dry, and it's probably my least favorite month from a weather standpoint.
Yeah.
It's probably the best month to see wildlife because
Oh, wow.
it's dry and all the wildlife is going to the river.
Oh,
And so
cool.
they're
So
all
you can see a
driven
lot.
to go back and forth on our property. And so like the jaguar sightings and the other
Oh,
big
wow.
cat sightings
That's
and
crazy.
other mammals and things tend to be in the driest time of the year.
That's cool. Yeah, that's rad. Well, I'm going to ask you some marketing questions now. That's all right.
Cool. Yeah.
So what forms of marketing, or how do you currently market your resort? Like, what do you find to be the most effective? You said that you get a lot of, do you still get a lot of bookings through travel agents, it sounds like? And then, or
So we have
what
some
is the
travel
most,
agents. So when we're like expanding and trying to upscale, we've got to go find new clients and things. So the previous
yeah,
owners, we've already doubled revenue from where they were, and we
cool.
want to double again this year.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so, we're having to substantially expand where we were marketing. So the travel agents are great, and we're trying
yeah.
to expand that a little bit. But we also have gotten more creative and expanded the online travel agencies that we're part of. So Airbnb, Booking.com, Expedia, those kinds of groups, so that we're posted out on all those and available on those platforms. And then with our own website, we're doing marketing through paid ads like Meta ads and
Oh, you are.
like pay-per-click ads to drive people
Yeah,
through the website. And then the channel that has actually really is the most exciting to me is our partnerships with retreat hosts. So this is like let's say you were like, "Hey, I want to host a photography retreat. We're going to
yeah,
go do we're going to go do 5 nights in Belize
yeah,
and we're going to do it at Jade." And
yeah,
we partner with you and you
yeah,
make some money for your time and you get a really
yeah,
cool
yeah,
free trip to come on the trip and train everybody, and then you go out to your community and you sell the retreat.
yeah,
And
right.
that has been the most fun for me because it's so expansive of all the different things people can do. Like we just hosted a vegan retreat. Then we did
Oh,
one that was
interesting.
like about family offices and mindset and money.
Oh,
And
cool.
we're about to do a yoga retreat. And we have one in the fall that's on women's gut health and how to balance your hormones. And so
Yeah,
there's all of these little niche experts in all kinds of different topics. And
yeah,
it really is fulfilling my personal mission to say, how do we get people out of their space and come to learn something new, do something that they love, and go back refreshed. So, and our
yeah.
space is so perfect for it because we have 300 acres that are completely private.
That's so
And
crazy.
so you come
Yeah,
here and you rent the place out, and it's just this incredible space for healing and for learning and for growth. And so it's perfect for retreats.
yeah,
And
that's
so
cool.
I'm
Kind of pushing into that
trying to grow
direction.
that part of the business. Yeah, I think this year it will
Yeah.
probably end up being 50% of our business or more.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So, out of all of those forms of what forms of marketing and advertising do you find would be most effective for your resort currently?
Currently, it's the partnering with retreat hosts,
Is it?
and the way we market to them is varied. So we have a campaign running on Meta where we just kind of draw them, get them interested in what we're doing, and then we meet with them, talk with them. And then referrals, we're starting to get referrals now from other retreat hosts that like this was really cool, tell their friends about it. We reach out directly to different influencers or
Okay.
content creators where we like
Yeah.
that person aligns with what we're doing, or they reach out to us. They're like, hey, we're interested. So we do a fair amount of organic social as well,
Cool.
and so they see our stuff and they're interested in what we're doing. And then the one that I'm trying to figure out how to break into right now is the corporate retreats.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm
so
saying. It seems like that would be a good
I've been trying to
opportunity.
post more on LinkedIn and hang out with the business guys a little more,
Yeah.
see what kind of interest we can get there.
What role does photography and video kind of play in your marketing efforts right now?
Yeah. Honestly, it's like constant for us, I feel like, because we've been renovating. And so
Hmm.
it's been like we just had a guy that reached out to me and was coming to Belize. His model is he'll just he'll get somebody who's interested, and then he'll just kind of reach out to a bunch of different resorts in the area. He specifically
Mm-hmm.
does resort photography.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, this one's paying for my flight and their shoot, and so then he just tries to add on other
Oh, right.
places to make it more profitable for him. And so he
Yeah.
reached out to us. It was a more reasonable rate because I don't have to pay any travel,
Yeah.
um, and it's kind of an add-on for him. And then as soon as he was done, I was like, oh, now we just finished a new building that we needed pictures of.
Yeah.
So we're constantly renovating and like needing new stuff and figuring out what is our story, right? Like our website, I
Yeah.
love our website, and our partners, like it's doing a really good job creating this like ethereal vibe, and
Yeah.
that's what Chrissy and I love. But he's like, I need some adventure. Like I want to see the rivers and the
Yeah.
rappelling and
The experience side of the resort,
right,
like,
right.
yeah, like, yeah, I
All the
can see that.
excursions, right? And
Yeah,
so we're like, all right, we
totally.
got to do a better job showcasing that. So
Mm,
it literally feels like it's going to be endless. And I know it won't
mm-hmm.
be. Eventually we'll finish renovations and whatever else, but I'm trying to figure out the sustainable pace of like how do we afford the right content?
Mm-hmm.
How do we tell, story directive,
For
how do
sure.
we tell a
Yeah.
story rather than just
Hey, here's
putting
our
beautiful
resort.
things out there,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Yeah. Yeah, that is something that we've been working on. I've done a couple of resorts now that we've did like these cool little intro videos about, like, and we just interviewed them and then cut a bunch of rad B-roll. I'll have to share them to you with you so you
Yeah,
can
I'd love
kind
to
of
see
see.
it.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about or considered, have you ever had anybody pitch you on just like doing like I'm just wondering, like a retainer of some sort, like every month we're going to come down or every quarter we're just going to come down and hammer out a whole bunch of stuff and like
Yeah.
just shoot a whole bunch of stuff. Like, is that something that is like interesting? Would that be appealing to you at all or not really?
Potentially, yeah. So we did that for organic social,
Oh, you did? Yeah.
and they didn't tell any stories, and so
Oh,
I feel
really?
like that's why it didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was like I feel like there's so much heart to what we do, and there is so much story. And they were like,
Yeah.
"Here's all the beautiful stuff," and like this is a thing that's worked for our other socials. That and initially that's what our social was because we were posting, so it had a ton of heart,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
we were doing all the videoing and all the editing, and it just was like got to be too overwhelming. And we
Yeah.
wanted more professional content. And so then that's why we
Yeah.
hired them. And they had some good track record and success with some other resorts. But I think that
Yeah.
the problem is that the social is moving away from show me something beautiful. Like that's no longer
Yeah.
shocking. Everybody's scrolled
Everybody's seen
so
everything. Yeah.
long,
At
they've
this
seen
point.
the whole world. There's
Yeah.
nothing that's so beautiful that it's going to be exciting anymore.
Yeah.
And so even though our resort is incredibly beautiful and a lot of the shots that they took, I'm like, that is amazing. Why are we getting a few hundred views on that? Because it didn't have any heart. So I would totally be interested in that. Maybe you could tell me more about Story Directive.
Yeah. I mean, the premise behind Story Directive was really just was to do two things. I mean, when I first launched it, it was, hey, we're going to provide great photos and videos at a price point that makes it affordable for people that don't have giant budgets. Like I was in LA at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And so, it's everybody was always going after, oh, we wanted to shoot for Nike. We want to shoot for, they all want to shoot for the same
Mm-hmm.
people, right? All these big brands, everybody's trying to get these big brands because they have big budgets and you can do big productions and all that stuff. But one thing I realized when I was down there is that for every one of those, there's 100 of businesses that don't have big budgets, but also need great
Still
content. You
need
know what I
content.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they need
Yeah.
great videos, they need great photos, and there wasn't really anybody catering to those people. They were just kind of all trying to go after these big. Everybody's hustling the agencies, hustling these big brands, hustling all these things. And I realized that there was just like this opportunity. If we could cater to them properly, taking a very narrative, story driven approach. To your point, like there's no shortage of beautiful imagery anymore. There's no shortage of good photos and good videos. It's not, but you've got to have the story behind all of that is really what drives movement in marketing. And so that was it. So I kind of set out, and my background was in photography. I did photography for, I've done photography since 2004. You know what I mean? I've been shooting for 20 years. And then I got into more video, and I loved the reason why I got into video is because of what you could do with it from a narrative driven storytelling perspective. Was just like, it's so much more impactful than photography. And I love photography, but there is just something emotionally that is innate in video. And so we started doing that. And the reason I kind of wanted to reach out to you is because what I've found over the last few years is, even though we're delivering the great videos, great photos, we've really streamlined production, so we don't have big crews. It's a lot of times it's just me and maybe an assistant or something like that. So I'm doing drone, and we're doing interviews, we're doing all of the, we can basically produce what used to take like 5 or 6 people to do in 1 or 2 people.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And so we've streamlined that a lot, which is great. But then where the rubber met the road, I guess, was after we'd create stuff, we'd be working with our clients, and then inevitably it would always come down to, well, we don't know what to do with it after we get it. And so it really became this whole thing of like, and I was really adverse to it at first, was just like, I don't want to get into the marketing game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get into that. My world is the creative world, and I create great images, and I create great photos, and I tell great stories. But I realized over about 2 years ago that unless I figured out how to help my clients leverage those assets in a way that was going to drive results, they weren't going to keep investing in videos and in photos. And so that's kind of the mission that I'm on right now, is just trying to understand, what people are like, especially in your industry, because I like this industry a lot. I've always done, I'm an active trail runner. I love being outside. I love adventure. I love all that stuff. And I realize that like, I love being a part of travel and tourism space, but I'm trying to better understand what someone in your shoes needs in order to invest in what I offer, you know what I mean? And what they want to see as a result of that. And so that was why I kind of reached out to you. I was like, man, I need to get in the brain of someone that's in your position, that's like property is in the thick of it, and what those pain points are for them as they try to promote it. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now, because the biggest problem is that and I saw this a lot, and let me know if this resonates with you, is, I would create this beautiful video, awesome intro video or an experience video for a client, and then they would put it on their website, they put it on YouTube, they put a few snippets on social media, and then it was just like, cool, now what? Like, is it working?
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like looking at me like, well, we did the thing, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we did it.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how to track if it was what the because you get vanity metrics on all of the platforms, like, oh, we got some likes, we got some, but there was no real way of tracking to see if, like, when they saw it on YouTube, did they actually go to the website? Did they actually book a room? You know what I mean? Right, and so that was kind of where I was like, okay, we got to figure this out. And so I've gone, like, over the last year, I'm obsessed with learning how, when someone sees something here, that will drive them to take action to do what we want them to do, which is, in your situation, we want them to book a room. That's all this is about, is we just need to book rooms. Right. You know what I mean? And we want to tell the story. We want to do all this. But when it's all said and done, someone in your shoes needs to see those results, or they're not going to keep investing in that thing. Right? And so that's why, like, I was like, so that's kind of what my mission is now with Story Directive, is not only to create great videos, create photos, but also be able to drive actual results with those assets for our clients, so that they actually can see that ROI on that investment that they made into videos and photos. And so we've been implementing some really cool video tracking that helps us know which videos are actually driving the results for our clients. We've been setting up, we've gotten really into, digital campaigns and different platforms like YouTube and Meta and LinkedIn, to see what's the best way to, leverage that video content and that photo content in a way that it's not just driving awareness, which is important, but also more importantly, having the results that our clients need so that they want to keep investing. Because I know, selfishly, if they're seeing results, then they're going to keep investing in more videos and more photos because it's working, right? Like, and
Yeah, of
that
course.
ROI is there for them. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So that's really what I'm really focused on now. Cause after 20 years of doing this, it's kind of like what you were saying. It's not, hey, how are we going to get photos and videos anymore? It's like, it's really now the strategy behind that, all that in the future, that's really going to become, it's how can we tell that story? And then the strategy of how to leverage those stories in a way that we're reaching our
Yeah.
target audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With AI and with all that stuff, there's just going to be, it's going to continue to get easier and easier to create photos and videos. But what's
Yeah.
never going to be taken away is, how do you take that? How do you create an authentic story that people relate to? How do you leverage those videos and photos in a way that they're driving results for us and getting but that investment that we're making into those assets are actually paying off. So yeah, we've been diving into all of that stuff and then helping our clients understand that, like, if we, based on our forecasts, you invest X amount into these assets, we should be able to expect. So we can actually forecast an ROI out on that investment, which up until recently I've never been able to do. I've never been able to tell someone, like, we can see some, like I said, those vanity metrics, or people are engaging and people like it, but I've never been able to really say, like, okay, if you invest X, you're going to, we think we can get Y out, you know what I mean? Which is pretty awesome. So that's
that is really awesome.
It's pretty cool.
So what is the model?
So that's why, like, talking to you is really important, because it's like, I think for lots of people in your shoes, it's a challenge, right? To know what to create, how to create it, where to put it, so that you're actually seeing that investment pay off. Because and that's what I do like about kind of where we're moving, is we're leveraging data to drive our results, instead of just like, well, I heard this guy say this, or I heard this guy say this, or, someone told me. But because we kind of put all of those data points into analytics, we can run reports and see, like, each specific video, the performance on each one, where they came from, what it's doing. And then from there, did they actually book? Did they actually, take action after seeing this video? And honestly, it's like, it's getting away from, the other thing that's shifted is, like, in my industry specifically, is like the whole notion of, well, we just need a couple of videos and then we should be good. We really have learned that we have to be much more strategic with our video marketing approach. And that is kind of following like a buyer's journey. So, like, with hotels specifically, it's, making them aware that your property exists, that these type of opportunities are even available to them. Because a lot of times, like, I have another client that does guiding tour. They do adventure tours all over the world. So they do Kilimanjaro, they do Everest base camp, they do Machu Picchu, they do so they have all these rad trips. But for most people, and it's probably similar to you, even though yours is probably much more accessible, but for a lot of people, climbing Kilimanjaro is kind of a lifetime achievement thing. You know what I mean? Like, so they're not just going to willy-nilly just kind of get online and book with whoever is available.
Yeah, let's go next month. Yeah.
So, they need to do some research. They want to know what it's like. So there's a lot of awareness content that kind of needs to be made. And then we kind of move them into, like, consideration stage. And then you kind of move them through almost like a buyer's journey of awareness, consideration, and decision stage, as opposed to just like, here's our one video and book a room. You know what I mean?
Book it now.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're moving. So, like, I mean, you shared that, like, what are your main pain points with your marketing efforts that you've run into so far?
I think that's a big one, is attribution.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm running this campaign and I can see my website traffic go up when I run that campaign, and I know exactly how much it costs me to send somebody from that campaign to my website.
Yeah.
And then they go to my booking engine and then I don't know. I don't know exactly which ad they came from. And so we're trying to get that ironed out, like
Mm,
driving it all the way to a purchase, to where I know they saw this ad and then they purchased, or they saw this ad and then they did this and this and this, and then they came back and then they purchased. So I think that's part of it. I also think the multi-stage that you're talking about, like awesome awareness content that's just we're constantly posting it, that gets people
mm-hmm.
interested in what we're doing. Like, we have done a terrible job with that and it's still working. So I can
Yeah.
only imagine if we were like really nailing it and doing it all the time. So my wife
Yeah.
is a great video editor, but also is the contractor and the restaurant manager, and
Yeah,
name
totally.
5
It
other
just,
things that she's doing.
yeah.
She's posted a
Plus
few
being a
YouTube
mom.
videos. Yeah, plus being a mom. She's posted a few YouTube videos, and we've gotten, a month or so ago, we had like 2 or 3 groups that had booked because they saw our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, man, that works. It had nothing, it wasn't nowhere on there was it like, hey, come book at Jade Jungle Resort.
Yeah. It wasn't like a
It was
hard
like,
sell. It was just like,
no,
hey,
they
this
found
is,
our, yeah, they
yeah.
found our family story. They found it intriguing. They were like, wow, what is this family doing? Let's go check it out. And then they booked. So like all that awareness content, and then being able to find those people and then start delivering the consideration and decision content
Yeah.
would be amazing. But I
Well,
feel
that's
like
kind of,
those are totally separate for us.
yeah. Yeah. Any other pain points that you've ran into? Like, how has it been finding good? Is it difficult to find good, like, vendors, like good photographers, good videographers, or do you get hit up by those guys a lot, or is that not really a challenge where you're at, or how's that for you?
I mean, we haven't, it's a challenge to find it locally for sure.
Yeah.
And so we have brought other people in, and it's been a combination of like people that have just reached out to us and said, hey, this is what we offer, are you interested?
Mm-hmm.
Or people that we know that want to come down to Belize anyway, and they're like, hey, let me come and I'll trade you for some content. There's been a fair amount
Yeah,
of
for
that.
sure. Yeah.
So I mean, mostly those two. Like, I don't know
Um,
that I've really gone out and been like, who should I hire for video, because I've never had to. There's been
there's been
multiple
enough
people that,
people,
yeah.
yeah, that have approached you and found you that you haven't had to go out searching.
Well, yeah, and we've done some of our own, and want to be able to do that ongoing, because it is so authentic and we feel like that's what resonates with people.
Mm-hmm.
So we want both, right? We want the really nice professional stuff, but with heart. I feel like that's the
Yeah.
part that we've been missing. And then we want the just raw, authentic, day to day.
User UCG kind of like, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All
Yeah.
that
No,
stuff.
then there's definitely a role for both of those things. I guess one last question that I did have was like, how much experience have you had with influencers? And you said you mentioned some of them, and it seems like those are kind of a mixed bag for a lot of people.
Hmm.
What's your experience been like in collaborating with influencers? Is that still like
Yeah.
a does that still move the needle for you at all, or is that getting just kind of like oversaturated and not as effective
We,
as it used to be?
I don't know that we really have a good answer to that yet. The collaborations that we've
Yeah.
done have been good for the
Yeah.
most part. Some of them have been just extractive. I'll use that term.
Yeah.
But some of them have been awesome. And the ones that are awesome are the
Okay.
ones where we partner with them and then they fill a retreat and they come host it. And so that
Oh,
it's not just
got it.
coming here
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and then posting about our
It's
resort.
not just snapping a few photos of them laying in bed and saying how cool it is.
Yeah, and I think for the right people, that could still move the needle, right? It has
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
the right
totally.
right ones though, and it's hard for me to tell which ones are the right ones.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe that would move the needle for us, but we haven't
Yeah.
done that as much as like, cool, you've got a community of people that all love what you do with whatever it is. Let's get that community down here to have a good time together and learn from you. And that's been really good. But
Well, I appreciate your time, Lance. I know you're a busy guy, and I hope everything goes well down there. I think it's pretty awesome what you're doing down there. Oh, thanks, Lance.
sounds great.
I'll
Yeah,
talk to
talk
you. I'll
soon.
talk to you soon, brother. See ya.
Okay, thanks.